All right, let's get into the market. Let's see kind of what a real estate market is doing this time. I'm gonna talk about it from two different perspectives. One is just gonna be the numbers, the data, the kind of boring stuff to some people, but it really is a good benchmark to kind of compare this year's numbers versus last year's numbers. This month's numbers versus last month. So it kind of can give you an idea of the trend. But the second part of the market is just the people aspect of it. Buyer demand, seller demand are the living, breathing factors, the intangibles, if you will, that drive our real estate market. How enthusiastic people feel about our economy, how enthusiastic people feel about getting their own place, how much the boomers are aging and need to downsize or find new living accommodations, move out of state, whatever it may be. That's the other factor that really drives a real estate market. So, really quickly, let's just get into the numbers first. So if you look at August and September, the inventory numbers stayed about the same. We're creeping about 1.7 to 1.9 months, I guess, of accumulation. So just under 2 months of accumulation, and that is a big jump from last year because last year there was less than a month's worth of inventory. And for people who don't know what I'm talking about, that simply means if there were no new houses listed, how long would our supply of inventory last if all these houses were to get sold at the same rate that they're currently selling? So inventory is starting to sit on the market longer is what that tells me. And also from personal experience, homes that I've listed or homes that I've helped buyers buy, those properties have been sitting a lot longer than they did when we just came out of this historic low rate seller frenzy market where properties weren't lasting a week. So now we're seeing a lot more normalcy come back to the market. Things are kind of leveling off a bit, giving buyers time to make decisions, especially big financial decisions like buying a house. So there's less pending sales in the month of September. There were less homes sold in the month of September than the month of August. The sold median price decreased a bit. And the days on market is up about 6 days. So that's what's to be expected. I mean, the Fed's announced a interest rate hike about a month or so ago. Then they did another one. I believe it was like 3 weeks or something like that. I don't really know the exact date. But ever since then, you can kind of see as rates go up, everything is kind of like a balancing act. The higher the rate, the lower the price has to be because affordability is still the biggest factor for people. People still have expensive lifestyles that they have to maintain. And I'm not talking about anything lavish, just day-to-day life is hard. Prices are inflated, groceries are inflated, gas is inflated. You guys know, you live it. So you're starting to see houses are still in the market a bit longer, but what's interesting is the median list price of these homes is still staying relatively the same. It has dipped some. The median sold price is staying relatively the same. It has dipped some, but not this sharp crash or like sharp decrease. And a lot of that is due to just limited inventory. There's still only a limited amount of homes that are going to be for sale. So at the end of the day, no matter if you're buying or selling, you kind of have to take that in consideration. As a buyer, I know I would look at the market and really weigh my options a lot more versus last year. Like if you saw a house, you kind of had to jump on it. Now you have some time. Now you potentially have a week or so to kind of browse a few other homes before that one goes under contract. As a seller, it's also important not to panic right now because the rates did go up, buyer activity dropped. You're so used to last year's market that if the days on market, your house has been listed a week and you're not getting 20 showings and 5 offers, you think something's wrong with it, and then you immediately drop the price, which isn't always the best case scenario for you as a seller as well. Another quick thing to take into account is just that, excuse me, last year, as far as the inventory numbers go, there's about the same number of homes listed. So about the same number of people are selling their homes. So that's one or two things. Either seller reasons for selling, whether it be military relocation, which is a big thing here in St. Mary's especially. Military relocation, downsizing, moving to a warmer or nicer state, moving to family, whatever the case may be. Sellers are still listing their homes for sale at about the same rate. And either the demand to sell has stayed the same or people have just not caught up to the latency of the market. As the market has slowed, a lot of sellers that are kind of late to the game are still thinking that it is last year's market where they can list for top dollar, get it sold in a week. And that's just unrealistic. One thing I'll never do is steer you wrong. So if I ever go into like a listing appointment with somebody, I'm not going to lie just to get the listing and tell them that, hey, I can sell this house in 3 days. We'll get you 40,000 above asking price. I think unless it's a very unique property in a very unique location, those days more or less are behind us. I think now what we're seeing is a lot more of that like 2017, 2018 market, kind of when I was starting to first get my feet wet into real estate, where the inventory had time to accumulate. And as a seller, you kind of have to be prepared to let your house sit 30, 40, 50, sometimes 60 days before you get a decent, respectable offer. But it's not immediately time to just pull the parachute, drop the price, just start making crazy updates to your house because it's not getting sold. You have to allow yourself to adjust to the market as well. It's not going to be an overnight thing anymore. You need to really coordinate with your real estate agent. Make sure you're staying on top of active competition in the market. See if anybody else is coming up with similar houses. Where are they listing at? Of course, you don't want to be extremely overpriced, but I don't think it's the time for everybody to just give up and just start dropping their price $40,000 because there is still somebody out there that wants to buy it. You just have to realize we're dealing with a much smaller population of people because as those rates go up, the monthly payment goes up. And you factor in that with everyday life, makes it a tough decision for somebody. So hopefully this made sense for people. I didn't really get too much into the data. If you do want to see what the market statistics look like, just hit me up and I'll send you a copy of it. But I'm still optimistic about the market. I just think people just really need to take into account all the crazy things that are going on in this world and the economy and really just settle down. But as a buyer, now's your time. I know the rates are a bit higher. It's a lot more expensive, but you have a lot more leverage than you did a year ago. So if you were on the fence a few months ago, it may be a bit more expensive now, but you have a lot more potential savings on closing help, getting things actually repaired, settling when you want with the loan that works best for you. And overall, no matter what rate you're paying, it's still a lot cheaper than paying for somebody's rent or paying someone else's mortgage. So if you have any questions, just reach out. You can find me on pretty much Facebook. I'm on YouTube sometimes, but you can also just text me. That's the best way to communicate with me, 240-434-6532. Thank you.